Okay, we're live. We're live right on the dot, 8 p.m. on Thursday. Now, I know some of you are not used to the schedule. I've been doing live streams on Thursday the last few times because Christmas and New Year happened to fall on a Friday. But as I found, it's just a little less stressful for me to do Thursday. So glad you can hang out with me on a Thursday. I really, really appreciate it. It just makes my life a little bit easier. And I just think it's so important to do a live stream so I can kind of get the pulse of the community. So our topic tonight is actually kind of a question that I want to ask all of you, and I it's important for me to get the feedback of the people because I'm kind of frustrated with this. It's like a failure on my part, and I don't really understand why. Because it's the second time I've done it. I've done a video about how we are actually being manipulated in the specific example I've been giving. It's about Google, but of course, it could be Facebook, it could be Palantir, it could be anyone. But I just happen to have the proof that it's being done by Google itself. And I've done that video twice, and the result has been embarrassing. Twice now. I could come up with a topic to lead in and talking about problems and telling you crisis after crisis of what they're doing with the data collection. But when I tell you what they're using the data for, nobody watches. I don't really understand why. I'm like telling you, okay, they're collecting the data, and then I'm taking it to the next step, which is to show you how the data is being used, and the reaction is like, not interested, not interested. And then it turns into something else, and then it gets into kind of a politics comment, like I'm talking about politics here when I'm not. And then you know there was an interesting comment from somebody on the YouTube video that this person left, and the comment was along the lines of, I respect Rob. I disagree with him. And this is about the fact that Google is partnering with Moonshot CVE to manipulate you. I disagree with him, but I respect his opinion. And I'm like saying to myself, what the heck are you disagreeing with? What specifically are you disagreeing with? Because I'm just laying out the facts that there is an actual entity that is actually using the data to manipulate you, to come up with something called what I call a belief map, where exact locations of people are identified on a map. And the original chart that I found from a year ago, which is not there anymore, I guess they were hiding it, showed actually a little way to actually retrieve the information on every state about this specific topic. I think it was anti-vax. And you could actually pinpoint, little communities where there's a lot of these people. And obviously, in order for them to come up with the map, they had to have the exact identity and the exact location of the people thinking like that. And by the way, as I explained in the video, the data that resulted in the classification of a person as being, in this case, anti-vax, was based on search data from Google search. So this person said, I disagree with you. What are you disagreeing with? Are you saying it's okay? It's okay because the politics happen to fall along your lines, that it's okay to take people's information and manipulate them and basically try to change their opinion in some nasty way, like do it with changing search results. And I'm like mind boggled here. I'm mind boggled because it's like, so you're saying that manipulation is okay. It's okay as long as you do it to the right group of people. So basically, we're like into the statement that says, "Oh, we're in a free country, but some people are freer than others. So we make a choice that, oh yeah, this is free. This is a free place, a free society, and we can think whatever we want, only if it fits into the agenda. Otherwise, we don't care what they do to you. So, wow, I mean, like the short-sightedness of that thought process just boggles my mind, because obviously it doesn't matter what the topic is. Somebody can switch it around. Not everyone agrees along political lines. There's, for example, anti-vax as a topic is not specific to either left or right. Anti-vax is about personal choice, and some people choose to be anti-vax, not because of politics. It's no connection. Now, of course, the media is trying to politicize that by saying that those who are anti-vax has to be conspiracy theorists, and then we get into to debates about how many people died from COVID and so on. And but yet, there is obviously manipulation here, because, as it turns out, and this is now admitted by even Los Angeles County, where I am, that only 50% of the deaths of COVID are really from COVID. 50%. 55% in Los Angeles County. The CDC says it's roughly around 50%. So we already are getting the fake news that, hey, look, we're trying to make the number as big as possible, and so based on that, we're going to inflate the number so that even if you came in with a comorbidity, meaning an associated disease, but you actually got admitted to the hospital because of the diabetes or the heart disease or whatever. But since you had COVID, then we're gonna say, if you died of COVID, even though that's not really the case. So this is what is actually admitted to by the authorities. They're in Los Angeles County. If you read the small print, they actually said that they actually know that the comorbidities are the ones actually causing the death and not COVID itself, and that COVID as a proportion of the deaths were 55% of the total. So this person came on made a comment in my video, said, 700,000 people died of COVID in the US, and I don't agree with you, Rob. And we start off with a statement that's already not based on a fact. And I'm not anti-vax, okay? I want to make that clear. I am not anti-vax. But the idea that it's okay to manipulate people and not allow free debate. What are we afraid of? Why not have free debate? What are we afraid of? Is there something to fear here? That we can't let people speak out? If you have a good argument, why not make the argument? Make the argument, and then we're going to all listen to it. Why does it have to be manipulated? The problem is when you manipulate the data and there's no cross checks and no checks and balances to the data, people then feel that they're being tricked. They feel like they're being tricked because there's like no honesty to it. Whereas if you have free and open speech, people will say, oh yeah, okay, I heard that side and I heard the other side, and then they'll come up with an answer, typically somewhere in the middle. But that's not the philosophy here. The philosophy is let's wipe out all the information on any opposing point of view. And it's okay because it suits whatever it is that's wherever my politics lean. And I just, I don't get that. I really don't get that. I'm not a political channel. I don't really care what you believe. My thought process is you should feel free to think whatever it is you want to believe, but don't stop somebody else from thinking it. Let them think. You have a right to think about whatever you want to think about. The other side has a right to think about whatever they want to think about and speak out. They have the right to speak out as well. Thank you, Robot Glock. Thank you. Are you vaccinated against COVID? Okay, I'll tell you a little fact about that in a moment. It's so hard to discuss my own personal status because it's that in itself is a cause for debate. But anyway, this is not about just that topic. It's just in general. I'm talking about Moonshot CVE as an organization targeting what it appears. I mean, it's pretty obvious from their website. Appears to be targeting right-wing thought. That's what the premise of the video was. From last year and from the recent one from 2 weeks ago, that they are targeting right-wing thought. There is nothing in their website that attacks left-wing thought. I thought that maybe, isn't the purpose to maybe moderate some extremists, in which case then you moderate it both on the left and the right. And no, that's not what Moonshot TV is doing. They're saying, we're going to only take one side, and we are going to label them violent extremists. And this is just the shocking part about this. They're being labeled as violent extremists simply for doing a Google search. John, thank you, John. Freedom and Debate. So thank you, John. So that's all they did. They did a Google search, or a bunch of Google searches. And they got classified as violent extremists with exact locations, Google ID, and everything else for people who are ignorant of the tracking that I keep talking about here. So they got tracked, they got identified, and now they're part of a pool that are now a target for manipulation. So, meaning these people are now getting a bunch of media pushes to counter their opinions. There's going to be a lot of it. They're going to see it on the websites, with the Google ads and everything else on their search screens. And these people are not smart enough to know, you should use DuckDuckGo or Startpage or something else that, something that doesn't target you. They're not going to know that. They're just going to stick to their zucking Androids and Googles and iPhones. And so they're going to just go look at their Apple News and their, and whatever, MSN News, and they'll notice that, their data is being targeted, and that there seems to be a bias of information towards one side. Now, that's not always going to work, and I'll make a little interesting comment for you. Hello, Teresa Wing. Let me tell you an interesting comment I read from a book, and the comment in the book is this. Paraphrasing here. Knowledge is power. Well, that's obvious. We've heard that a million times. But the book actually says it a little differently. Again, paraphrasing here. Knowledge is power to the ignorant. Meaning, if you have knowledge, but the persons you have knowledge of are not ignorant, then the knowledge is not power. In order for the knowledge to be powerful, the other side has to be ignorant that they have that knowledge. This is what this channel is all about. This is really what this channel is all about. I'm giving you the knowledge that they have the knowledge. So they have the knowledge, you have the knowledge. Therefore, if both of you have the knowledge, then you're not ignorant, meaning you're not sheep, in which case, then you can't be tricked. If you're aware that somebody's manipulating your data and tracking you and categorizing you and classifying you in some way and changing your search results and all that, and you know it, you'll play the game. You'll say, yep, not going to believe anything you send me because I know what the scoop is. I know what you're trying to do. And in which case then their approach becomes weak. They can't really hurt you with the manipulation, because you can manipulate them back by acting like, oh, really? Oh my gosh, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Interesting words spoken. Thank you, Teresa. So anyway, thank you. If I give you the knowledge, and that's exactly what this channel is all about, I'm hoping that you realize that, this manipulation stuff cannot work. Well, unfortunately, the majority of people are in the ignorant group, because, I come up with this video that's just, I labeled it bombshell the first time, and nobody watched it. I think the first video, which followed one of my biggest videos that almost had 1 million views, or had 1 million views, and this was the video that was a follow-up to it. It's like part 3. And the part 3 video got 40,000 views. This last video on the same exact topic, I don't think has even gotten 20,000 views yet. I don't think that's from 2 weeks ago. I don't think it's at 20,000 views. I got to check, but it's definitely not even close to that 40,000 from the last video. And it's, equally serious and equally, it's the same stuff. I'm just rephrasing it in a different way and trying to give you some more ammunition on how to fight it. And nobody cared. And again, the comment from the person saying she disagreed with me was like very, very telling. Why are you disagreeing with me? This is not about politics. I don't really care if you believe or not believe that a company like Moonshot CVE should be manipulating the thoughts and the internet of people in certain categories of right-wing thought. It could have been left-wing thought. That I'll give you the truth here. Google is obviously on the left side, and Moonshot CVE clearly is on the far, far left. That is clear from what they do. Now, in case you think that's the only side, you're quite wrong. There's another side, and the other side on the right is Palantir, doing the exact same thing. Palantir's doing the exact same thing. Now, I don't know what they're doing. I don't have any data. They didn't publish it. I'm assuming that's what that they're doing the same kind of stuff that Moonshot CV is doing, and they're doing it on the right, and they're probably going targeting people on the left. And I don't understand why you would think neither of those will be correct or right. Why would you want anyone to take any of your data and manipulate you either on the left or the right? Why would you want that? Why would you agree to that? Why would you agree to what I would refer to as asymmetrical? What is this? It's an asymmetrical attack, because you don't even know you're being attacked. You don't even know that you're being manipulated. It's like guerrilla warfare in the background, where you're just doing your own internet, watching YouTube videos and whatever, and you don't even realize that there's subliminal messages being sent. Back in the old days, I remember this was a big thing back, during the Cold War. Subliminal messaging. You go to the theater, they were passing subliminal messages on screen. Now, the Google version or the Palantir version, whatever that version is not subliminal. It's direct to your face, but it's hidden away. It's in it's coming at you in ads and search results and in subtle messages. And this is the part that you don't even realize. You go to particular sites, your Fox News, your CNN, your New York Times, and you actually think that the comments that you see on their sites are normal discourse. So you see people leaving comments on there, and you think that's normal discourse. But you don't even understand that's being manipulated. In fact, the company with the program to manipulate the comments on these sites is Jigsaw from Google, being also used by Facebook, meaning they're filtering out comments. If they don't like your comments, they take it out. So then you look at the comments, and there's going to be a bias depending on the site. There's going to be a bias in the comments towards one side or the other, and you start to feel like you're the loner, or maybe they have bots that actually respond to you and make you feel stupid with some bot giving statements on there and actually posting comments. You don't really know what they're going to do. The AI is smart enough to actually understand context. It even understands if you're what do you call this? Being ironic. If you're being ironic with your statement, that the AI actually understands that. And I don't know. I feel like a failure here because I've been trying to explain this, that the data is being used in a little different way now, and it's kind of like step 2. Step 1 was to collect the data. Step 2 was to identify who gave the data. Step 3 is then to manipulate those you identify. So again, I'll remind you, this goes on both sides of the political aisle. Back during the 2016 election, Cambridge Analytica was used by Ted Cruz. Was the first one to use it, if I recall. Ted Cruz was the first one to use it. And the way that it was used was Cambridge Analytica took the data that they stole from Facebook. It's very easy to steal your data from social media. Very easy. In fact, they put in some limitations, so it's a little bit harder to do now. But they were able to collect 50 million people's records on Facebook, almost their entire records on Facebook, 50 million in 2016. And they did that through games. So games had access to your account, but what they didn't tell you is they had access to your friends' accounts on Facebook. So the moment you play with a game, all of your friends that they could see, because they have access to every account on Facebook that you have access to, because you authorized it, then the app would then look into all of your friends' data and capture that. And so even if they only had 1 million people playing the game, they were able to collect as much as 50 million people's records. And they stored that into a database. And what they did, and this became hard to find after the revelations of Cambridge Analytica came about. They actually classified people based on behavior. They had classifications that would imply who's vulnerable to influence, who was introverted, extroverted, who basically they were trying to see who could be influenced. That was the gist of the attack, and this was done on the right, and so what they were experimenting, and this was at the early stages of this in 2016, was to see if they could do some targeted messaging and how the focus population would react. So all they had to do was do some testing, message testing. They would test a message. This was during Ted Cruz's time. They would test a message and see how the subpopulation would react based on whatever the personality criteria was that they were looking for. And I don't think they got very far yet. I don't think it yielded, significant results. But they were at least able to categorize people. So they were already on the way to doing this. And what people don't realize is that Cambridge Analytica, even though it was shut down, they went to Congress and Zuckerberg, spoke in front of the Senate and, defended what Facebook did in line with Cambridge Analytica. And people forgot that Cambridge Analytica, the idea or the algorithm for the Cambridge Analytica debacle was actually created by a scientist from Palantir. Now, Palantir still exists. So the Palantir guy actually came up with this personality profile and whatever. So they're doing that now. They're testing reactions to things. They would post certain things on social media, gauge reactions. They'll post things on Twitter. Now just to show you how people are so ignorant, they don't even know what's up. You go on Twitter and you see that certain topics are magnified and become ultra popular all of a sudden, and you start to say, oh wow, that's must be a real important topic. And you kind of wonder some of these like buzzwords, like let's go whatever, how that became ultra popular as a hashtag on Twitter. Do you know that on Twitter that messages can be amplified? Messages can be amplified on Twitter by fake accounts, meaning any entity could now take the data and say, okay, now let's try and test out reactions. We'll try to make this go viral by having an amplified message on social media. If you have millions and millions of accounts and you react all of a sudden at the same time, the thing goes viral, and then Facebook, Twitter, and so on feeds it even more. Same with YouTube. So when something becomes viral, then the rest of you have the perception that, hey, it's popular, it's important, and you don't even realize, none of you realize that could have been part of the Zucking manipulation. That could have been the manipulation. And we're quick to blame, oh, it's the Russians, it's the Chinese, this and that. It's easy to say that, by the way, that it's the Zucking Chinese and the Zucking Russians, because it's an easy fallback position. But you probably would not have thought that, hey, maybe it's Palantir, maybe it's Jigsaw, maybe it's Facebook. You don't even think about that. And this is the part that we don't understand, that this is going so fast now. People are reacting to things online, and people go crazy about certain things. You could, come up with a fake video of somebody being beaten. Obviously there has to be some sort of racial drama there. So, it's going to have to be some cop beating some black dude, and it's gonna be put out as a fake video, and you're gonna react quickly, because that's how social media works. You're gonna react before you even actually hear what the story is, and that's always what happens. And you wonder how much of that is organic and how much of that is manipulated. Do any of you ask that question? How much of that is organic and how much of it is manipulated? So, there are certain topics today that are like just rose up in prominence and are like, accepted today as common talk, like being woke and so on. Where was that a few years ago? It wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. Now, how did he do that? Could this have been part of the manipulation? Again, this could go from any side of politics. It doesn't matter where it comes from. The point is, we are vulnerable. If you are ignorant, you don't understand that someone can do this. There's a guy on Twitter that was focused on proving that Iran had so many fake accounts on Twitter, and then they would magnify or amplify a message of anything that was, if somebody spoke against Iran, this group would amplify a message to basically cancel out the comment of the thing that was anti-Iran. And this guy proved it by saying, look at the numbers, and showed how the inconsistency in the numbers and how certain groups, would always come up to speak, and that these were fake accounts. And that is the kind of stuff that we're seeing, and people are saying, oh, we don't really care. We don't really care about this. We're free. We're in a free country. It's okay to be manipulated. It's okay. It's okay to be manipulated by Moonshot TV because it's for a good cause. It's attacking the right-wing violent extremists. But it's not good to have Palantir do this against the left because, that's not correct. I don't know, guys. I mean, the reality is, from my point of view, they're all bad because they're not organic. They are not organic. They're not the thoughts of the common person. They were amplified artificially. Just like censorship is artificial. Censorship, it's made to silence. You silence an opposition view. And you can silence, maybe you can think you can silence some extremist views. But when you start silencing even moderate views, I really, really, really start to worry about it. So anyway, I'm only talking about this because it's clear that my videos didn't perform, and I don't really know why. So obviously, I didn't explain this the right way, one, or YouTube suppressed the video. I think the suppression is a big part of this. Yes, YouTube did suppress the video. And how do I know that? How do I know that? Because of something called impressions. Now, this is what happens with my videos. When a video becomes very successful in a very short time period, based on the reaction of my existing subscribers, they do click-through rate, measure, watch time, and view count. And if it falls within a certain level, like in the top 10% of the videos, then typically what Google would do, or YouTube, what YouTube will do is then feed it to other people outside of my subscriber base. And on these videos, they do not do that. They keep the videos inside my subscriber base. And so they do not exceed, the impressions do not exceed the number of subscribers I have. So, typically I have 354,000 subscribers. The impressions may go to as high as 200,000, meaning not even all my subscribers are going to see it. They suppress it there. And so that's definitely part of it. Or, I'm not going to go blame somebody else. Maybe I screwed up. Maybe I'm not explaining it right. So my opportunity to explain it is in live stream, where I don't really care about the views in a live stream. So, because in a live stream, it only goes to subscribers. The non-subscribers do not watch live streams. So in a typical live stream, especially if it's politically based, meaning there's some politics in it, like today, I should lose around 50, 60 subscribers every time I do a live stream. If the topic is not that controversial, I'm going to lose 20 subscribers, and it never gets fed outside of that subscriber base. So my way of getting subscribers is from the main video, the ones I release, the shorter ones I release on Wednesday. Used to be Thursday. And that's usually where I'm leaving that. And it's very frustrating for me because I don't know what I'm explaining that's not getting through. Why is that person injecting politics into something that has nothing to do with politics? It's about manipulation. Manipulation can be done to either the left or the right. When I see manipulation being on one side, I'm stating it so you can go see that there's truth to what I'm saying. Manipulation is going on with Moonshot CVE and Jigsaw. Manipulation was being done along the lines of Cambridge Analytica with with Palantir or with a Palantir associate. That we know. There's many things we don't know. We don't know how things are affected. I told you about the comments in social media. Or the comments you see, even the posts on Twitter, are actually made by bots, and the comments on many websites, including the New York Times, Washington Post, Facebook, are actually made by and censored by a jigsaw program. And how do I know this? It's Censo and Jigsaw. Okay, so I'm telling you, just it's happening. Everything you're seeing in social media is manipulated. Okay, before I continue, I'm going to pause for a second here to tell you about my sponsor, which is Linode. So Linode has been my sponsor for a long time now. My gosh, it's is it 2 years now, or coming to 2 years? Yes. So, and I myself am a very big user of Linode. Linode is a cloud service provider if you want to run websites. Typically, many of you will go to GoDaddy.com. If you want to run bigger sites, you typically will start programming and doing stuff, with servers on Amazon AWS. And I'm telling you, both of these options are expensive and with hardly any tech support. And compared to Linode, you're going to lose out. Linode is the place to go. It's so much cheaper, and the tech support is amazing. So I have moved pretty much 90% of my server activities to Linode. I don't have the capability to move everything all at once, so there's still I have some on AWS. But where I can, I've already moved them, and at some point, I'll minimize the AWS even more. But at the moment, 90% of my stuff is already on Linode. So hopefully, if you're interested in running servers and things, especially Linux servers, think about Linode as your cloud service provider. Okay. So let me just tell you something interesting that happened here. Someone in my family was COVID positive. So my household had somebody who was COVID positive. And as you can see, I'm still here. Everything's fine. Again, this is something that's not discussed too much. The fact of the matter is, we were all exposed here to COVID. Everyone here was exposed. Everyone here was exposed. We had zero. Let me repeat that. We had zero symptoms. No one reacted to the virus. We only know because one of us had a COVID test and that person was positive. So we all know because of close contact, and we all got it. And nobody got anything. No symptoms whatsoever. Nothing. Nothing. There, I coughed. Nothing. That was a week ago. So anyway, the interesting thing is, when they talk about the Omicron variant, the Omicron variant, the reality is that many people will be asymptomatic, and so we got nothing, no reaction whatsoever. What is what was I going to say about this? Anyway, so they were saying that how many people were infected in one day. They were saying like at the peak was 400,000 people in one day. I'm going to tell you right now. That number is way off. Way off. So, just to give you an idea, with the people in this household, one was positive. None of us reported anything because nobody was sick. Nobody was tested. So the record will say only one person was positive. Well, obviously, all of us got hit by it and no one reacted, which means the infection rate is much, much higher. And the other thing that is interesting here is that even at the early stages, I was watching some videos from 2020, and they were saying official videos here on YouTube, non censored videos, official on YouTube, and they were saying that 40% of people are asymptomatic. So, which means a big chunk of us were infected, or at least were exposed and had no reaction. Okay, so just put that into your mind. So you just keep that in the back of your mind. All this panic. The panic is actually worse because if you think about it, every number is doubled. So by the end of the month, probably the whole population will have been exposed to some extent to it. So anyway, that's an interesting fact there. Again, no reaction whatsoever. None. Now, obviously, when you hear that you were exposed, you start to feel like, oh, am I feeling dizzy? Am I losing my taste? Am I having breathing problems or whatever? And you start, it's like psychosomatic. It's like you're starting to think there's something wrong with you. But the problem is, I felt fine. I felt great. And, I didn't have a live stream last Friday because that's when it happened. But it's interesting that, so many people have been exposed and have no reason to report that they've been exposed. So the numbers are much, much higher than you even think. So a lot of people have, in fact, wouldn't surprise me if people are, been hit by it a few times already. Maybe you already got it, a year ago indirectly, and then you're getting it again, and you don't hear about any of this. They don't have any data. We're not allowed to talk about it. So I'm just telling you what the facts are. So I have no reaction whatsoever. Okay? I look good, no reason to fear anything. Yes, no. So I'll cough a little bit here. That's about the worst of it here. If low cases, no profit. Okay. So anyway, just take that as you will. Not making any comment about it other than telling you what happened over here. So am I worried about it? I guess I shouldn't really be worried about it because now I found out that for my DNA that it's that we're resistant to this COVID thing. We are resistant. So I don't have to get myself too concerned about it personally. Some of you may need to be concerned about it, but for my DNA profile, apparently not. So there. So that's just interesting to note. So everyone's well, no problem. I did follow. I actually went to the CDC guidelines. I went to, I'm going to be official here. We're on YouTube. So I said, okay, I got exposed. What are the CDC guidelines? So I went to the CDC guidelines. Last year, when you get exposed, you're supposed to quarantine for a week. 2 weeks. Sorry. And then now the new guideline is if you got exposed now, you're supposed to quarantine with no symptoms for 5 days. Thank you, MPD. Texas, MPD. So because we had no symptoms, then the quarantine period was 5 days. So that's what we did. We, yeah. Your DNA, did you double check that with the boys at the lab? No, I didn't check anything. I'm just telling you that I did not react to the exposure. Nobody did. No one in my household reacted to the exposure. Okay? I haven't been recommended one of your videos in 4 months. Now, if you're not getting my video recommended to you and you subscribe to my channel, come on, go to the subscription page. This is not a mystery. I release a video every single week, and there's a live stream every single week. So my day of release now is Wednesday, used to be Thursday. So yeah, please just check the video every week, every Wednesday, and then the live stream on Thursday. And then I put it up on Odyssey the night before, so it's Tuesday night on Odyssey. So, okay, so just so you know our status over here. So obviously we're not like concerned about this anymore. Now that we've been exposed, it's like, should we really be concerned about this? I guess not. Can I say that about each and every one of you? Of course not. It's an individual case. But for my case, I guess I don't have to worry about it too much. Okay? So, yeah, some of you need to worry about it. I don't have to worry about it. So, videos will keep going. No problem here. Now, I have allergies. I'm sniffling from allergies, but other than that, I feel great. I feel fine. My taste buds are fine. Everything's good. So, yeah. Let's see. Have you seen the EU stats? Over 3 million. I got to be careful what I comment on here because YouTube, of course, transcribes everything I say. So let me just read this quietly here. They transcribe what I say, and then based on that, they'll censor the video. So I got to be careful what I say here. You know, this is not a free place. This is YouTube. Okay, this is not a free place. We are not able to speak freely. Let's say we have a question and you just even want to answer the question. Is there a possibility of X? Oh, no, you can't even discuss that because it doesn't follow into whatever the agenda is. Okay, so whoever controls the platform can control the agenda. Whoever can manipulate the platform, like in the case of Palantir, can control the agenda. The rest of us are just victims, and you can be an ignorant victim, in which case then they really gotcha, or you can be a knowledgeable victim, in which case, because you're not ignorant, they can't really do anything to you. So that's what we're trying to do here, guys, is trying to make sure that you are not ignorant. Yeah, I always sniffle. I have allergies. It's a very common problem because I ran out of allergy medicine. Right? So I was surprised after your margarita Friday last month you didn't get the boot. Why would I get the boot for having a margarita? I had a margarita right before this. Do you 3D print? Yes, I 3D print. In fact, there's 2 3D printers to my right here, but they're kind of disassembled right now. They're not running. Thought you just liked the nose candy. So anyway, okay, just trying to read your comments here. Get NAC for allergies. No, I just need your usual Claritin. I ran out of Claritin. I usually take Claritin every day, and I ran out. So I haven't had Claritin in 2 weeks. That's why allergies are coming in here. Have you been compromised yet? Compromised by what? Would you be sure to turn off your phone before? Would you be sure to turn off your phone before being arrested? I should not be reading this aloud, but what the heck are you talking about? Unlike you, I don't have anything on my phone. I can go to any country and they want to inspect my phone. They can go inspect my phone. I don't even put a password on it. There's nothing on my phone. I'm smart enough to know that my phone is not used for keeping important things. I don't live off my phone. Most of the stuff I do is in a computer, and most of it is in the cloud. So I don't have anything. Rough crowd tonight. What's the deal with Twitter Blue? Is everything on the internet going to require subscription or access? I don't even know what that is because I haven't been back to Twitter. I had 7,000 subscribers or followers on Twitter. I don't know what's happening. I haven't been back to Twitter since the beginning of the year. I have not been back to Twitter. I've not logged into Twitter whatsoever. I'm not sure what my point is for being on Twitter. I wasn't getting any more subscribers. The original plan was to be on Twitter because I was on Periscope, but Periscope is gone. Why am I on Twitter? I'm not sure why. So, shouldn't waste your time on social media if it's not part of your plan. I am on Odyssey. By the way, on Odyssey, I am now, I think I'm number 8. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I'm in the top 8 of creators on Odyssey. Top 8. That's pretty amazing. And I'm gaining on the next guy. The next guy is Brett Weinstein, and he passed me, but I'm passing him back. He's only 200 away from me, and that number is getting smaller and smaller. So, yeah, he's only 200 subscribers or followers away. But I'm catching up. I may be up to number 7 soon. So if you're wondering what platforms I'm on, I'm on Odyssey. Odyssey is not a minivan. The spelling of Odyssey is in the description. So yes, top 8. I'm in the top 8. Yeah, so I passed Jordan Peterson a long time ago. I passed Trump. Then I passed Jordan Peterson. And I said, who's Jordan Peterson? You should know who Jordan Peterson is. Well, I don't know who Jordan Peterson was. In fact, I still don't. I mean, I know who he is, but I haven't watched anything. So anyway, it's just an interesting comment here. So, no, I don't know. I have not seen anything from Jordan Peterson or Brett Weinstein. I've no idea. I have no idea what they represent. So I know Corbett because Corbett interviewed me. So Corbett is the number 2 guy on Odyssey. So Corbett is number 2. Gatekeeper. Trying to read that. Correct spelling is Oddysee. Oddysee. Not the book Odyssey. So Odyssee. It's in the description. You don't have to guess. Corbett, not corset. James Corbett, yes. I don't do live on Odyssey. I am not able to watch comments on Odyssey. Odyssey is just not made for live streaming. They do live streaming now, but I can't sustain watching comments on two platforms. So I can't really do that. Can you delete content from library blockchain? Not sure you can really delete content on library. You can basically make it so it's hard to find by, if nobody owns it, then it's hard to find. But it's in a blockchain, so no, you actually cannot delete it. So yeah. Comorbidities. We're not allowed to discuss comorbidities, Sassy Doe. We're not allowed to discuss that. Yeah, no. Yeah. It just, somebody challenged, and I think somebody from the left challenged the CDC to say, well, how much of your deaths are actually from COVID? And then the CDC responded, I believe, that 50% of the deaths in New York, only 50% of the supposed COVID deaths are actually from COVID. They actually said this. They weren't sure. They said, they believe it's around 50%. But you never hear that. That's, all the results of deaths are always, so many people died, but only 50% of that was actually from actual COVID itself. The rest were, they had comorbidities, so they were already sick from something else. So if you died from a heart attack and you happen to have COVID, your death certificate is going to say COVID. Okay, now on the LA County side, they actually admitted to it clearly from the health department of LA County. They said 55%. Okay, so now they're talking about it. So there you go. I mean, right there, that's just misinformation that we're not just talking. We're not talking about it. But now, official parties are admitting that only 50% of the deaths are actually from COVID. Okay? So, why do we need to do that? Cause more panic? Why is it necessary to do that? Why just not be straight up and say, okay, here's how we measure that, and this is what we know, this is what we don't know. And here we are, 2 years into this, almost 2 years into this, and only now are they going to say, only 50% of those are actually from COVID. Now, there was a lot of hearsay talk that was the case even before, but of course no one can talk about that. If you come in from a hospital and say, well, they're marking them as COVID, but they're not, that would get you banned on social media. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. That's so nice of you, Jimmy. Thank you so much. So, yeah. So why is it not right to discuss that? Because it sounds more scary to jack up the number so that people, like that person who left a comment on my video about the manipulation, was saying, I disagree with you. There are 700,000 deaths from COVID. I don't know what the connection was. I'm not speaking against anti-vax or anything. I am not anti-vax. Thank you, Media 3 Group. Thank you. I'm not anti-vax. I'm just saying that what is the real cost of this disease, of this pandemic, so that we can react accordingly. And should we panic? Why do you want to panic about it? And I made a video about this, which I made sure to not monetize because I thought YouTube will definitely ban it. But they did not ban it, but I demonetized it, and they did not feed it outside of my subscriber group again. And that's when I made a comment about the vaccination card check at restaurants. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. The restaurants here in LA are dead. It is so sad. It is so sad. I'm going to say most restaurants are, the most popular restaurants are maybe 30% off from their normal traffic. And the typical number would be more like 50% or even less. These restaurants are losing it. They're losing it because they're, aside from everything else, they got to check your vaccination card. And let me just tell you something that in case you didn't, get this from what I said earlier about being exposed. You can be exposed regardless if you're vaccinated or not. Meaning your vaccination status has nothing to do with getting exposed and getting possibly infected and being a carrier. It has nothing to do with that. So you go to a restaurant and they check your vaccination card and people decide, well, I'm not going to go to the restaurant. I'm not going to go to the restaurant. And that's exactly what's happening, folks. They're not going to the restaurant. And this is a very liberal city here. And the restaurants are quite empty. Even during the Christmas holidays, restaurants were way empty for the holidays. Way empty. And so you're vaccinated and you're like enforcing that you got to go get your vaccination card. And I'm so upset about having somebody check a vaccination card. Because if you want to get vaccinated, you get vaccinated. Nobody's stopping anyone from getting vaccinated. I'm not telling you not to get vaccinated or to get vaccinated. It's up to you. You make your own decision on that. That's not what my channel's about. I'm not here to discuss your choices about vaccination. That's not what this channel's about. What I'm interested in, though, is why are you going to enforce this vaccination card check when it's clear that that has nothing to do with your safety, because it's very clear now you are going to get infected whether or not you're vaccinated. You're a carrier. Everyone is a carrier. Everyone. Everyone. I don't care if you have quadruple shots. You're a carrier. Therefore, what is the point of the vaccination card check? Why are you invading my privacy? What is the point, since it doesn't have any more safety than anything else? The answer actually is, if you want to be safe, stay zucking home. Don't go anywhere. Yes, I have a runny nose because I have allergies. I'm not infected. I've had this. I have this forever, but I ran out of allergy medicine. I am fine. Telling you right now, I was exposed. And didn't affect me. No symptoms whatsoever. Nothing. No change. Now, I was sniffling before. I'm still sniffling. That has nothing to do with anything. Okay. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Wow. So many of you contributing, and I really, really appreciate that. By the way, I have merch in the merch store. I think I'm wearing, the Google shirt here. Maybe I should change this to de-Google rather than de-Googled. Let me think about that. May have to change it. You can vote. Do you prefer to say de-Googled, past tense, or to take action to de-Google? It's in the merch store underneath the description on YouTube. So, support the cause, my friends. Support the cause. This channel, survives because of you. It's not, if you don't support it, if you don't buy products, if you don't give super chats and all that, then it's difficult to do this. So this is my life here now. I don't do anything else. I can't even program. I can't even program anymore. I can't, I'm a software architect. I can't even do that. Okay, de-Google. I'm going to change it to de-Google. Okay, so I'll change it next week. If I change it now, it disappears from the store, so I can't do it right this moment. So present tense de-Google. Okay, we'll change it to present tense. Okay, de-Google. I'm not going to put Zuck Google because I had a T-shirt that said Zuck Book, and nobody bought it. So okay, so we'll put de-Google in there next week. So if you want it to say de-Google, then wait till next week. If you're okay with the way it is right now, then you can get it now. I'm going to change it. I can't do it during the live stream because if I do, all the store content will disappear. Okay? So what's so funny, Natasha? What's so funny? How many shirts did you sell? Not that many. I mean, this is not like a hot seller here. Here you go, man. Get a computer that can access the internet and the surveillance state can't do anything about it. J Doggy, it's not about me. It's not about me, J Doggy. It's about the ignorant. How many are ignorant? If you're, you're very savvy, you're protecting yourself, and we're 1% of the population. 90% of the people are manipulated. And then by manipulation, they can change votes and opinions of these people, the 99%. What are we going to do? We're going to get outvoted. So it's a terrible thing to witness, how ignorance can affect us who are not ignorant. So the objective is, if I can, again, let me repeat that phrase again so it's clear towards the end of the video here. Knowledge is power only for the ignorant. Because knowledge is not power if you're not ignorant. If you know that they're using knowledge about you and you know it, then they can't do much to you because you'll play the game. You'll play the game. You'll like, oh, I know they're trying to trick me. And that's what this channel is about. We're trying to educate you so you know when they're trying to trick you. But when 99% of the people are ignorant, then what do? So, yeah. So that's the problem, guys, is, we got to make sure that we're all educated. That is partly the reason for these shirts, is so we can, get people to ask questions. Why do you wear a shirt that says de-Google? Why do you do that? We got to raise the awareness so that we actually have more people who are not ignorant. Okay? So the issue of ignorance and about manipulation is not a right-wing, left-wing thing. It is not. Some of you are on the left, some of you are on the right. My example was based on data from Moonshot CV attacking the right. They can be attacking the left too. Palantir is. Palantir is owned by Peter Thiel, and he's on the right. Which is also interesting because Peter Thiel is gay. Most gay people are on the left, and he's gay on the right. That's because money counts for more than sexual preference, I guess. That's what, when you're a billionaire, you say, well, I want to keep my money, so I'm going to be on the right because I want to keep my money. And in case you're not understanding this correctly, Peter Thiel, Zuckerberg, all of these people say, we have no right to privacy. We have no right. So that's their belief. They believe that we privacy is something that's unimportant, and they want to minimize it as much as possible. That's actually part of the message. That's part of the disinformation. That's part of how they're tricking you by minimizing the significance of privacy that already has benefits for them big time. They can do more about feeding you false information when you say you don't want any privacy. So anyway, this is a anyway, this is really important for me to find out your feedback, because I've been unsuccessful in passing this message along. Really unsuccessful. I don't know how many people have viewed this video so far. This is a low traffic day, and we'll see how the replays go. But we'll see if the topic really is uninteresting. People don't care. People care more about cybersecurity. They ask me about, what about the Pegasus attack? What about this attack? What about the log for whatever? I forget the name of the virus, the attack. So, they're more interested in that. But when you tell them that you're being manipulated, oh, I can't see that. That's not happening. Nobody's manipulating me. When you go on Twitter and you see the same stuff over and over again, you're being manipulated. So, I want to buy your phone, not the modified one. I want to buy your phone, not the modified one. What does that mean? I don't understand. I'm hoping to sell the Brox branded phones sometime in March. So we'll see. Still reviewing it right now. I hope it works out. I will never go to that kind of restaurant. Well, this is California here. All the restaurants are the same. Any Google phones in the UK, I can sell my phones to the UK. I mean, I've sent a lot of them to the UK. They're certainly compatible in the UK. So yes, a lot of my phones. My biggest markets for the phones, aside from the USA, are Canada and the UK, then followed by Australia. So those three biggest ones, and then everyone else in the middle there. What do you think about VR? VR controlled by Zuck. Yep. Do restaurant need a smartphone to order now? Well, they give you, they require you to do a QR code. So you do the QR code, and then they, in theory, can track your phone if you're using one of those regular phones. I'm not using a regular phone, so they can't really do much of anything. There's no identity to a Google phone. So this is the part that people don't get. Okay, a Google phone has no identity. You don't really have to do anything special on a Google phone. There's no login. There's no identity. There's no Google login. There's nothing. There's Google Analytics can't pick up anything because they don't know who it is. The Google Analytics sees something from an account called Anonymous. They don't know who it is. It's whatever the MicroG account is, which is a shared account. That's all they're going to see. They don't know who's using the phone. There's no identity whatsoever. You don't have to do anything special with a Google phone. Nothing. So because of that, it's you've already erased the fear, because if identity is the issue and there's no identity, there's nothing else to think about. The rest is not really all that relevant. Yes, some people say, well, there are trackers and all these apps I install, and you listen to those graphene people and the privacy IO people on Reddit, and they go panic and they go crazy. They don't even understand the problem whatsoever. They don't understand the problem. They don't understand the problem. The problem is identity. If you don't have any identity, so what if they track you? So what? They can't track anything without an identity. It doesn't work. Okay? If it does not work, if you don't have an identity, nothing works. You know that the belief map I said about Google tracking people who are anti-vax in certain areas, and I looked at a map of Texas, and it actually isolated individual streets there with people on there. You can't do that with a Google phone because they can't even identify you. Those people were identified by Google ID. They can't do that on a Google phone. You don't have to do anything special. You basically disconnect. So when people say, well, I can't handle this Google phone thing. Well, it's really simple. You sacrifice a bit. Not every app works. Okay, fine. You got to agree that not every app is going to work. Don't zucking panic. Use a zucking computer. Or use the browser. Not everything's going to work. Uber's not going to work. Lyft is not going to work. So use a browser. Your bank may not work. It may not. If it doesn't work, use the browser. The browser works. So it's a little bit more inconvenient. You got to go to a browser. The interface is a little bit different. So what? But you're no longer part of the ignorant group. You're not part of the knowledgeable group, and oh, yeah, I can protect myself because if I don't have an identity, I don't need to care about trackers. They can track me all day. They're basically tracking a fictitious person. It's like saying VPNs. What is the purpose to a VPN? A VPN is a shared IP address. So, 1,000 people could be sharing the same IP address at that moment. So if 1,000 of you are sharing the same IP address, how the heck are they going to identify? And obviously those 1,000 people are doing different things on the internet. How are they going to identify who's who? And they can't even identify a consistent thought process because it's almost like, one is watching crochet and another one is watching football, another one is, watching movies, and, and one's on the left, one's on the right. They're not going to know anything. There's not enough information to get a fixed concept of who a person is because it's a theoretical person when you combine and aggregate data in a VPN. That's why VPNs work. So somebody made a comment in my video. VPNs are, you're going to be spied on. It's like, no, forget that nonsense. Forget that nonsense. The point of a VPN is to, not because somebody can't spy on you. Obviously, every website can see your IP address and see what you're doing on the internet. But because you're using a shared IP address, the data doesn't matter as long as you don't have an identity. And if you're using a Google phone or a computer, you don't have an identity. VPN owner sees everything. Sees what? That is so false. I'm a VPN owner. What the heck can I see? I don't have any logs, so I don't know what I'm going to see. Even if I had logs, do you know that 99% of the traffic on the internet now is HTTPS? 99% HTTPS. What the zuck are you going to see? So some of these comments are like based on some theoretical that you actually, why don't you go look at a VPN, go look at a live one and see what's actually happening there at the moment and see what you can actually track. My VPNs don't have any hard disk space to even store any zucking logs. They have 40 to 80 gigabytes. What are you going to store in 40 to 80 gigabytes with the operating system on there? There isn't much space for anything else. There's no zucking data. Okay? So no. You don't have to worry too much about that. JDoggy HTTPS. Think about that. Now, obviously, you can use Tor. But, if you're just going to say, I'm going to watch Netflix, I need to be careful about what I watch on Netflix. Come on. Do you really want to watch Netflix on Tor? You're not doing anything interesting. Focus on the things I tell you about. No identity, stuff like that. That just, my GPG, there's no PGP anymore. It's GPG. My GPG key is expired. That's a lot of cat videos. 40 to 80 gigabytes, and 40 of that is being used by the operating system. So you don't have much room for anything else. My password manager is KeePass. Base Guide Show. Hey, dude. But you didn't watch my video of blue and green. I played blue and green just for you. I should have titled it for you. I should have titled it for you. Go to my jazz channel and there's blue and green in there for you. I should have put the title on there for Base Guy Show. Tor is compromised. Why not use a botnet of hacked computers? Because it's illegal, mad cow. Because it's illegal. I don't know how you can say Tor is compromised. I don't know how you can compromise Tor. Obviously I already have videos on that. Tor itself is not compromised, but you can skip Tor and be compromised by a God's eye view of the internet, which I discussed in another video. What phone is Brack's phone similar to? Let me look at it first. Okay, I mean, I'm only seeing it pictures. I want to hold it first. It doesn't look like a Moto or anything like that. It's if there's any gripe that I have with it, it doesn't have a headphone jack. That's probably my biggest gripe with it. I don't like the fact that it doesn't have a headphone jack. And it's only intended for T-Mobile and AT&T. It's not going to work with Verizon. So for those of you who use Verizon, you're going to have to stick to Pixels. Only Pixels work with Verizon. The rest of you can use it. I'm gonna target a lower price for this phone. It's definitely going to be targeted for under 400. It's brand new. It's going to be under 400. What would you use a headphone jack for? A headphone. No removable battery. Who has Brack's mail email service? Many people here. So I believe Google uses Play Store cards to track. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no Play Store in the Google phone. Can adversaries tap out router and intercept packets coming from a VPN anyways? Yeah, they could. Let's say I have a VPN server at Linode, okay, and they have the IP address of the VPN server. They can then go to Linode and say, we want to track the outgoing packets. So we're going to put a listening post, on your server and listen to that. And here's the warrant. Can they do that? Yes. What's that going to do? Because the incoming packets are encrypted. So not sure what that's going to do for you. Because you don't, yeah. And who are you hiding from? I mean, what are you hiding anyway? If you're hiding from the government, then you're going to be zucked anyway. That's not the threat that I'm trying to explain to you. The threat is big tech. Government is government. We're always manipulated by government. We don't have a choice. So I'm setting government aside. So any of you who work for, 3-letter agencies, I don't care about you. You're not my concern, because I know you could do anything. So if you work for a 3-letter agency, yes, I know you're ultra powerful and you can do anything, and I don't have any escape. You can listen to my phone all day. You can run SS7 attacks and any number of things on my phone and listen in, but I'm not doing anything anyway, so who cares? Okay, I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is that private parties are collecting data on everything I do. and then using that data to, move their agenda forward, whatever that agenda is. Okay, so we don't really care about protecting yourself, because some of your comments, like on the VPN and all that, really relate to a state level threat, which is not the threat that I'm trying to explain here. Because I'm not sure you can escape, to be honest with you. Snowden can't escape a state level threat. Why would I be able to do that? If Snowden can't escape it, why me? I can't fight a state level threat. If the government wants to get me, they'll get me. But I don't really do anything wrong. I don't do anything illegal. I pay my taxes. So I'm pretty up and up in there. I've been audited many times recently. So, if they want to attack me that way, they can say, well, we're going to, audit you over and over. You can audit me over and over as you want. I actually overpay taxes just so I don't have to ever think about that. So, in fact, I have, huge amount of refunds every year because I overpay. Because I don't want to think about it. Okay, so I'm not, I don't have any defense against a state player. I'm being very clear. I have no defense against a state player. I can play short-term games, but that's about it. I mean, how can you hide? There's no hiding from a state level player. If you're coming in here and basically saying what I'm saying is wrong because you can't escape with a VPN and all this and Tor, because the enemy is the state, then you're right. If the state is your enemy, then yes, not much you can do. So, but that's not the enemy in this country necessarily. Not really true. They are the enemy because they're doing mass surveillance, but I can't do anything about it. I hate it. I hate the fact that they're doing mass surveillance, but I know they're doing it. What did I tell you earlier in the video on this live stream? I said to you that if you know, you're not ignorant. If you are not ignorant, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is power only for the ignorant. Knowledge is not power for the knowledgeable. If you know what they're doing to you, then knowledge is not power. So 3-letter agencies can go track me all they want. Since I know they're tracking me, then why do I need to care? Okay, you want to watch me go sailing? Fine. Go track me on my boat. Okay? There is a conspiracy. So anyway, I would use Tor as a client, not as an endpoint. Once you're the endpoint, that traffic is no longer randomized or encrypted. Yes, but when you're at the endpoint, remember your traffic is still HTTPS. 99% of the traffic is HTTPS. So a lot of the attitudes of, we're going to put listening posts at the end nodes of Tor or a VPN. What are you gonna see at the end? It's HTTPS now. 10 years ago that wasn't the case, but now it is. So because of that, there really is very little you can see at the endpoints. Even DNS, for example, in my case, the DNS traffic doesn't even go through the VPN directly. It goes through my Pi-hole server. So if you have my VPN, it goes through a Pi-hole server. So it actually doesn't go through the VPN, your DNS queries. It goes to the Pi-hole server, and it's aggregated and it's cached. So if you search for the same thing over and over again, let's say you're searching for google.com and 100 of you are searching for google.com. It gets only searched once. It actually only goes to Google once because it gets cached. So there's very little traffic. It's just going to be one occurrence of each domain. What are you going to get from that? It's not enough metadata for thousands of people on a VPN. Not going to be anything useful in there. There's nothing to actually track now. If you're in a VPN or an Tor, if you are talking about modern traffic of HTTPS. Okay? Now, there's a lot of stuff they can still track, but server to server, like email traffic. Okay, so we're out of time here. We're out of time. So thank you guys for watching, and give me some ideas. Why am I having difficulty explaining this concept to people? What am I doing wrong? You tell me. Maybe maybe some of you will explain, and I'll get a clue, and maybe I'll be able to rephrase this topic in a different way. Thank you for watching, guys. We'll see you next week on a video on Wednesday. And yes, I'm fine. I told you I was exposed. I am fine. I'm past my quarantine period of 5 days per CDC. So way past that. I'm at a week now. So thank you guys for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.